This is my 2000 Honda Civic Si that I am building to turn into the perfect street Honda Civic. And at the end, I'm gonna be giving it away to one of you guys. Of course, we have a lot of work to get done. I've been gone for a few days, and that's because the last few days I spent building this. This is the new heart for the EM1, a fully built K24. If you did not get the chance to watch the assembly video, here is what this is. It's the glorious K24A2 with the RBB 3-lobe head. We are running a set of Skunk 2 Alpha forged rods, ARP 625 pluses for the head studs, Wiseco pistons. This thing is ready to make some serious jam. The car was supposed to stay with a factory K24A2, but as always, things escalated and now we have a built K24A2. The goal for today is to get this in there. Now there's a couple things that I need to actually pull back off the engine. I'm not gonna lie, I put some of this on just for the ASMR video that I uploaded a few days back. The intake manifold needs to come back off. The turbo manifold and the turbo will come back off. Those will be installed after the engine gets bolted into the car. And then there is quite a few things that I do need to get installed before it goes in. We got the little strainer cap thing that goes there, the water pump assembly, a few solenoids, of course get an oil filter on it. We have the VTEC solenoid that goes there, clutch, flywheel, transmission, and then this can go in there. Making some really solid progress. Moving on to the water pump assembly. So this guy thankfully doesn't need to be trimmed. A lot of times when you're running an aftermarket intake manifold on a K series, this upper chunk right here, you have to cut off. For example, I know the Gatos, you have to do that. Now we're gonna be running the Skunk 2 Ultra Street intake manifold, and thankfully I just confirmed it does clear that. I do wanna go ahead and pull off the water pump. It looks like somebody did some Jimmy stuff up in here. So we'll put a new gasket on there. The water pump itself is fine. Same concept over here, some Jimmy stuff going on. This guy will be pulled off, tossed in the garbage, as I have a nice new billet one to install. The used OEM water pump is on. Me personally, I would much rather run a good used OEM water pump versus an auto parts store special. A new OEM pump is $270, and if that one works perfect, we'll run that. Moving on to the thermostat. I ain't gonna lie, this guy is an Amazon special. The housings are fine. I'd much rather run a K-tuned housing, but I did not feel like waiting around, so Amazon it is. Now, one thing that is not fine is any of the aftermarket thermostats I've never had good luck with. So what I do is I go to O'Reilly's and pick up a thermostat. Usually I run a 3866 part number, which is 160 degree. They were out of stock on the 160 and 170. So today we're running the 3868, which is a 180 degree. This guy, and I do like to modify them just a little bit. Cut the nipple, drill out the hole, touch larger, and we're ready for install. Water pump assembly is done. Now, before we go ahead and mate this to the transmission, I do need to just pop this valve cover back off and verify that the valve lash is set properly. 8 to 10 on intake side, 10 to 13 on the exhaust side. The long block is ready for install. Now I do need to get the clutch, the flywheel installed. I will be running the 4-piston flywheel bolts with the diamond lock claw. This is what the ARP 4-piston bolts look like. 125 foot-pounds on these guys. This is the diamond lock claw. This thing is super thin. I don't know how thin. Let's measure it. A hundredth of an inch. That's how thin it is. Made out of some special material, goes in between the crank and the flywheel. In case your 125 foot-pound flywheel bolts back out, you don't ruin your crank if you have this installed. Trust me, I would know. You don't want to ruin your crank when your flywheel bolts back out on your K-series. Happens a lot if you neglect to install these usually. Now I do have some threads to fix on our transmission before we mate everything together. For some reason, the titanium bolt, maybe there was a issue and it ripped some of the threads out or the bell housing. Now I may regret that, but it's the only option I got. You would think by now I would know exactly what to order for a car build. Somehow I spaced ordering a clutch. You guys know I'm the biggest fan of ACT Advanced Clutch Technologies. I run ACT clutches on every single car. I forgot to order one for this build. So I'm left with running the Stage 3 Action clutch that I got with the car from Josh. Thankfully I have that clutch here. Otherwise I wouldn't be putting the motor in for at least a few days while I wait for a new clutch to come in. That one's good for a lot of power. I'm just worried about the feel and the drivability of it. But I guess we'll see. If I need to pull the transmission and swap the clutch later on, that's what we got to do. For now, let's run this. Pretty much ready to go in. Let's get that transmission on the engine, get it all synced together, bolted down, and drop it in the car. And there we have it. The power plant is ready to go back in the car. Now we do need some motor mounts. This car used to have the solid with no bushings lean motor mounts. Those are gone. The solid and lean motor mounts were not friendly whatsoever for a daily driver. Engine and transmission are in the car. Let's focus on some stuff up front, the starter, the alternator, do some cooling system things. I don't want to get the intake manifold on until we get the engine wiring harness installed, which that should be here tomorrow. Let's hope. As of right now, this thing should shift and we should be able to feel how that clutch feels. Let's hop inside real quick. It would be able to crank if I had a trigger wire on the starter. Of course, there's no engine harness, so there's no trigger, but let's see about the clutch and transmission. Oh, needs a light adjustment. There's too much free play. That is not nearly as stiff as I thought it would be. Hopefully it drives nice. It is a 6-puck. I've had mixed feelings about 6-pucks in the past, but I've never ran this 6-puck, so it may drive nice. Before I forget, let's go ahead and knock out the grounds. Engine grounds are very, very, very important. Something I tend to neglect on a fresh build until I run into issues. Let's just go ahead and knock these out right now. I'm gonna pull one off of the driver's side frame rail over to the transmission, and then I'll pull two off of the passenger side strut tower. One is gonna pop over to right here, this nut. That is where our K-tuned engine harness is gonna ground when that thing comes in. And the other, I'll just pull over to somewhere on the back of the head, probably on the solenoid, somewhere right here. 3 engine grounds should be more than enough. If not, I'll probably have to add one from the frame rail over to the alternator, but I don't think it's gonna need that much. Grounds are done. I really want to hear this thing crank under its own power, so let's ghettoly get it to crank just for a split second to end off the day on a good note. Oops. She cranks, and we know it has good compression because our coil packs went flying. Very, very solid day, solid progress on the EM1 project. I'm stoked to get this thing done and get it into one of your guys' hands. The giveaway for this car should probably be starting within, I would say, the next week or so. I want to get it done and drivable before I actually start the giveaway. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you boys in the next episode.